strong as a trustworthy family-owned business with unmatched customer service. Go online at DeSantoPropane.com for more info or call toll-free at 1-800-752-4574 today. Since 1937, the difference has been DeSanto Propane.
Hello, everybody. Welcome into the FL1 Sports Podcast here on FingerLakes1.com. Paul Russo, Jim Senacropi, Kyle Evans here with you. Oh boy, it feels like it's been longer than a week, but here we are. We got sectional championship basketball discussed. The Bills have made a move that, I don't know, apparently I'm one of the few that feels a true improvement and fully on board, but we'll get to that. And then NHL trade deadline, the Sabres are trying to make moves, so a bunch of different stuff to kind of get to, too, on the back end of that. So great seeing you guys.
Championship weekend.
Yeah, a lot
for high school basketball.
Yeah, so we'll dive all into that. But first, think a couple more of our sponsors, including Cafe 19, breakfast, lunch, pastry, celebratory cakes, pies, and catering, guaranteed fresh and always local at Cafe 19 in Seneca Falls. Also offering an assortment of beverages, including tea, coffee, and espresso drinks. You can check out their full menu and weekly specials at xixcafe.com. And Weston Company Diamonds and Jewelry, a full-service family-owned jewelry store serving Auburn and the surrounding communities. You can check them out online at westoncompany.com or stop in and browse their full selection at 10 Genesee Street in downtown Auburn. Weston Company, crafting fine jewelry since 1982. All right, it has been an action-packed for us here at Finger Lakes 1 week. Frankly, week plus, if we're being totally fair. Go back to last week for sectional basketball, and we're in championship drive mode now officially here. This weekend coming up, we got some games we're going to be at covering. We got a handful plus of teams going for sectional championships. Just March Madness for us here locally before the actual March Madness for college hoops. Kyle, turn to you. You've been really kind of honing in on everything, obviously covering the Wayne Finger Lakes teams all year. But for this past week, man, what has first stood out to you in the performances so far getting to the championship games?
Yeah, there aren't too many surprises. I think I predicted like Lions, Honeoye to kind of be there in the finals. Boys I'm talking about, of course, and Wayne. Although Geneva made it tough on Wayne last night. But I think the biggest surprise, if I had to pick one, would be the Minders boys. I think we all kind of agreed, too, that, it just was a down year for them. Nothing really clicked consistently with them. So we didn't think they could, win multiple games in a tournament like this. And here they are going to play for a sectional championship in, just over 24 hours from now.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, they are facing top-seeded Leroy. So, you don't really know what you're going to get from them. But at the end of the day, they made it to the finals where I think a lot of people counted them out. So it's been a crazy week, though. Of course, lots of games. Bloomfield girls, too, of course, beat Lions. That was a good one to watch. Low scoring. That's the theme, too. A lot of low-scoring games. I know you guys could probably talk about that, too. I thought even the game you did last night, Wayne, Geneva, was a little bit low-scoring.
Yeah, and I really attribute it to the defensive pressure. Geneva played really tough man-to-man defense, and Wayne plays a 2-3 zone that's tough to crack, and yeah, keeps the scores down. Close game, though, and Geneva kind of led most of the way, but not ever by too much. And then fourth quarter, Wayne took over, and what a testament to what Coach Bill Thompson's done up there in Wayne.
Question for you, Jim, for over at Gage Chili. So I was over at Finger Lakes Community College last night.
Yep.
Waterloo getting their 11th sectional title on the girls' side last night.
Up 24-0 after the first quarter.
Yeah. I can't say I've ever really seen that. But we'll get to that in a second. One of the things we actually talked about, Jim, because me and you were also at FLCC on Monday night for the C semifinal games on the boys' side. And one of the things we kind of mentioned a little bit there, and I know we talk about for the boys' side of things too, because of Blue Cross Arena, the depth perception. Is Gage Chili still? I'm assuming they can't. You can't just.
Yeah, the walls are the
wall.
one hoop. There's some room behind, but I don't really buy that. you know, they used to say that about the Carrier Dome too. You know, I mean, I've seen plenty of teams make shots. I've seen plenty of teams make shots and get hot at the Blue Cross.
Yeah.
I don't really buy the depth perception stuff. You get there enough time to warm up and shoot, and you play in all sorts of different kind of gyms in your high school career. I think if anything, it's just like, you know, these are young kids in a big spot and playing for their careers, and sometimes nerves get there. And again, the defensive intensity generally ratchets up for these games.
Yeah. Yeah, Wayne's run's been pretty fun so far. We were myself and Nate Sharman were there last Friday night when they swept Newark for the season, and began the quest to what they're trying to do is a three-peat. So
it'll be their sixth in career in the school history.
Yes,
all under Bill Thompson. The first one in school history came in 2017, when we were there for that one. I think we were there for all of them. So they go for number 6 on Saturday at 3:00, and it'll be the first one that Coach Thompson has won without a Blankenberg on the roster. So, which is even more impressive because anybody that followed last year saw how great a player Cam Blankenberg was, maybe the best player in Section 5, and now he steps aside for his senior year to go to a prep school, and here they are back playing for a championship.
Yeah, we'll touch more on that in just a second as well. It's weird kind of working around just the way it was structured this year. Kind of mentioned, right, me and you, Jim, were at the C semifinals on Monday night.
Great atmosphere.
Yeah, tremendous games really for both. You know, Lions and Gananda played a pretty good game for the most part. Lions really pulled away there, though, in the second half.
Lions is a better team. Gananda was a good team. Lions is better. That's why they beat them twice in the regular season fairly easily.
Yeah.
Lions is a tough to match up for anybody in the Wayne County League every year.
Yeah.
But I was impressed that night by how well the Honeoye fans turned out.
Yeah.
I mean, geez, they filled up the whole side. Everybody wearing blue, kids, student section, shirtless with flags.
Yeah. Yeah, it was kind of interesting. We were talking with the Washburns and Britton Schneider post game. I was just like, "You guys sure about that student section thing? You got the guys are being dudes, shirts are off." We saw that we saw that a lot in college football this year, and it's just now trickled down to high school hoops here. So
the weather's finally starting to work out where you maybe be able to go shirtless.
Yeah. I didn't know how to properly approach that statement I was about to say, so I'm like treading lightly there a little bit. Last night, in addition to your game, Jim, I was with Nate back at FLCC for that Waterloo game. I don't, like I said, I've seen scoreless quarters before, but never a first quarter, and that was just, I mean, you want to talk about just Waterloo running away with it before it even started type scenario.
All of a sudden, they seem like a state contender again.
Yeah. You know, the X factor for me, I thought going into the game yesterday was going to be speed, and I think that's really, at the end of the day, what kind of was the big factor for Waterloo, in my opinion. Just the fact the full court pressure was amped up the whole time, active hands on defense, causing both. It's kind of weird I'm about to say it this way, causing forced turnovers and unforced turnovers as well. Dansville just was like, and Kyle, I know you saw a little bit of it as well. Just, I don't know if I've ever seen so many just passes sail like out of bounds and stuff like that. And I think Dansville like burned through like 2 timeouts like within a 2-minute span at one point. Just one of those things where Waterloo, kind of similar vibes. So like when they made the state final and championship run back in 23 in a way, just got the momentum and just avalanched and carried them for the whole 32 minutes of a ball game. Really great to see.
Yeah, you could tell Waterloo just wore them down and instantly, kind of just ruined all the confidence they would have had going into that game, which is why I think some of the passes were so bad. They were thinking too much. And, I mean, just Waterloo is elite, though. I mean, every year, I think it's 4 titles in 6 years now.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a crazy run. You don't see this a lot with a lot of programs. So
yeah, I think we were kind of fooled because they hadn't won in last 2 years they haven't won sectionals, and they had a good but not great regular season by their standards, I think. But here they are. They won the sectional title, which is strange because it was a Wednesday night.
Yeah.
But the girls' schedules run ahead, and now they'll play to go to the Far West Regional.
Yeah, and now this is where we can really kind of fully jump into the championship weekend preview stuff here because
Yes.
that's when that play down will take place. It's Saturday, but first, before we get there, Friday night, Jim, Minders, Kyle talked about it. Miracle Cinderella run here to the sectional final for B1 playing Leroy. We did, now I'm not going to say we called our shot because we didn't in B1, but we did say if there was going to be some Cinderella, it might be through B1. It's just that I think we were probably leaning maybe on Waterloo being that Cinderella team, not quite Minders.
Well, it would have been great if Waterloo won too, because then it would be a Waterloo Minders final, and that would be something. But instead, it's Leroy against Minders. Leroy, the number 1 seed, Minders, the number 7 seed.
Yep.
And Minders had an awful regular season. I mean, they go into this game at I think they're 10-13.
Yeah.
And they're playing for a sectional title. We've seen it before in a way. In 2021, they were a 6 seed. That was a COVID year when they played at North Star Christian and lost in a game that they had it won. It was the worst call I've ever seen in all of high school sports that night. But here they are. And my buddy Brad Connor, who I graduated from high school with, he played in the 1990 team that lost to Lions in the Blue Cross Arena. He likes to dig into the stats and was helping me prep. So he of Minders' 10 sectional titles, the worst regular season record they ever had was 11-9 in 1996, but they were still a number 1 seed that year, which is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of it testament to the difficult Finger Lakes East. The highest seed they ever were when they won was number 2. 8 times when they won it was as a number 1 seed. So 10 sectional titles, 2 is a 2 and 8 is a 1. And now they're going to try to win one as a 7. But, I mean, they can do it. They rely on the 3-point shot. And if they can overcome the depth perception issues in the Blue Cross. But I do predict almost a funeral-like atmosphere in the Blue Cross at 5 o'clock on Friday. It's the first game. Smaller schools. But, we'll see. Yep. We'll see. Somebody's going to win. And if it's Minders, it will be their 11th. And their first one since 2024, which was just 2 years ago. Right now, I don't have it in front of me, but I think Minders is like the 8th or 9th top team in all of Section 5 for sectional titles. So this would help give them one more. And, I have no predictions. I mean, I think the line would be Leroy by like 8. Mm-hmm. But that's why they play the games.
The Owatkin Knights.
Owatkin.
Right. And I was able to help you out on that front, Jim. So
yes, thanks. Everybody's helped me prep.
Yeah. So.
My 1 game Friday night. You, on the other hand, have 3 games, you and Nate, on Saturday. It's going to be wild times.
Yeah. We've done doubleheaders before, obviously.
We've done triple header.
I was about to say maybe triple header, but I've never
done
at
never
least
been on
one
triple header, and going into it, you think no big deal, but it's your guys are going to be struggling by that 3rd game.
Yeah, no, I've already had a not true nervous breakdown, but
you do all the prep.
Yeah,
the prep is people don't understand. We don't just show up to these games and wing it like a lot of people do. A lot of our contemporaries.
Yeah.
Not going to name any names, and I think that a lot of the folks do a great job, but we spend a lot of time preparing for these broadcasts, so we don't sound like we don't know what we're talking about.
Yeah. I mean, I spent probably, and admittedly, I'm sure they have played at some point. Not to jump totally ahead here on one topic, but I did my best for about probably a solid hour this morning, just trying to see if when Wayne and Monroe last played, if they have, and I just couldn't find anything within.
Did they beat Monroe in 2017?
But that's the thing, right? Eventually I got to a point where I got to 2020. I'm like, okay, I need to move on to like getting the next part done here because we got
just
3
guessing
games,
that they played. I mean, you could text Bill Thompson, and he could probably tell you, or I could send him a text. But I think they might have beat Monroe in the semis the year that they beat Wilson Magnet in 2017 at Fairport High School.
But the point being is, we will try and find any sort of crumb we can that we think will aid in helping the listeners in a broadcast. And obviously it helps ourselves out anyway too, just for the information. So, just one of those things where I prefer having as much info, as much numbers as I can, and going about it that way. It's the way I always have been. So, and it helps. I enjoy looking at the historical aspects of many things. So for me, it's always like a giant Wikipedia deep dive, if you will. Of
For
trying
the
to
Wayne
find
Finger
stuff.
Lakes teams, we probably have more historical
Yeah.
information saved in our files than you can get anywhere else.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the stat sheet that Kyle keeps throughout the season is also a big help.
Yeah. It's a beautiful thing. I rely on it pretty much every time I go to prep. So shout out to you, Kyle, on that front as well. Yeah, you have yourself, and I mean we'll get to more of it even too beyond the high school stuff. But Kyle, your Saturday is going to be
It's going to be packed.
an experience.
But I'm going to be just like you guys, though. I have my own notes and my docs that I keep, so it'll help me, like, with how many titles and all that. So I'll be ready to go.
Yeah.
But yeah, we even have a 9 a.m. game. I know we're not going to cover it with radio, but if Victor wins, that's big too.
Yeah.
They're playing for a sectional championship.
Yeah, 9 a.m. breakfast at the big house.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I think for Victor too, I'm probably off the exact number off the top of my head, but I know this is at least the third in 5 years they're going for.
Penfield
on the
Victor,
boys'
right?
side. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Penfield plus, or Penfield minus, Penfield minus 12.
yeah, it's one of those things where I open up TikTok. It's not often you see local like high school highlights. Period. There are a lot of them this winter that was Penfield basketball that popped up on my For You page, and that is a wild team. I don't know if anybody. You've probably seen stuff more than anybody, Kyle, on that front. Even it's crazy.
And we can't. Well, one last thing, we can't forget the Canandaigua girls. They're
Right.
playing for a title on Friday night, 6 o'clock at FLCC.
Yeah, they're also in the same boat as like Victor, like a handful now in the past few years.
Yeah, and they're facing top-seeded Pittsford Sutherland, so it's going to be tough. But worth mentioning those two programs, fighting for titles.
I was at before my game last night with Wayne and Geneva. It was the other half of the bracket was East High and Monroe, and oh my God, the gym was overflowing and just wild. There was a huge brawl in the third quarter in the stands. I mean, huge, like scary, like duck for cover. It spilled out onto like the corner of the court where the Monroe bench was. It's just a wave of people that delayed things for 10, 15 minutes, and police showed up and everything. I mean, geez, it was wild. But East is really good. Monroe's good too. Obviously, they beat them, but both super athletic, fast, tall, just almost in contrast to the slower, lower scoring Geneva Wayne game. And on paper, you're like, geez, how are these kids from Wayne gonna hang with this Monroe team? But that's the beauty of it. I think they're going to struggle with Wayne's 2-3 zone, and Coach Thompson's going to slow it down. And those guys are confident, and I think that you might see just a standard basketball fan give it like a Monroe minus 8 or to 10 line, but I think Wayne's going to win. I got like Wayne minus 6.
Yeah, I mean, the interesting part is Wayne has beaten East back-to-back years in these title runs in the finals.
Yep.
So I think for us, you mentioned like what we keep track of. For me, even if they went up against East, who was the top seed, for me, I wouldn't have a problem putting Wayne as the favorite, the de facto favorite of sort in this game.
They got experience at the Blue Cross. Monroe doesn't have any experience at the Blue Cross.
That's the key part is for me, above anything else, it is that experience of coming back to a place that you've had many games before now at this point, and just one of those things too where Wayne to me, again, I don't want to get too deep into the weeds on it, but like Monroe only played 18 games this year in the regular season compared to Wayne's 20, and we were probably going to talk about the same involving East if they had made it, but those two. Playing a full season like you're supposed to by Wayne might have actually cost them a potential 1-seed scenario. So how much of this is actually a seeding where you believe? And I kind of look at it from that window too, where we've talked about it a ton, obviously, whether it's been on Upstate Hoops or on this podcast even last week. This Eagles team is, to me, just as good as last year's and the years before that.
I love it when the Wayne Finger Lakes shows out in sectionals, and they consistently do. So we got Wayne with a chance to take the A title, Minders with a chance to take the B1 title. We won't have anybody in B2. And then you got both C's with the favorites being Lions and Honeoye. So if they both win, you're guaranteed a Far West Regional from the Wayne Finger Lakes and Honeoye or Lions. And then, Wayne's got a chance. Again, I'm sitting here doubting Minders because they're 10 and 13. They ended their regular season with a 10-point loss to Waterloo. They lost to Marcus Whitman on February 12th. Those at Marcus Whitman, 54-50.
Yeah.
They lost by 41 points to Newark in Seneca Falls on February 10th. They lost to Palmac on February 6th. They lost to South Seneca on January 28th. And so I tried to look at Minders' schedule and say, where's the good wins? And there was one win that you could consider good, and it was against the seventh place team in the sixth or seventh place team in the league, Waterloo, when they won way back on December 9th by 4 in Seneca Falls. Other than that, you got to say what's their good losses. And this is the thing that really kind of blows my mind. Right in between all those horrible losses I just told you, on February 13th, they went to Geneva and lost by 3.
Sports.
And then they lost by Geneva by only 5 in Seneca Falls. And so, that same Geneva team that was leading Wayne yesterday in Class A. So I don't know what to think, of this Minders team. And to be honest, we don't know crap about Leroy. We don't see him. I would have thought Hornell would have handled Minders that was back in the quarterfinals, right?
Mm-hmm.
So who knows?
Yep.
Who knows? Pat Brain's a good coach.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Do I do the college comparison? I'll do a college comparison.
Of Pat Brain?
No. For Minders as a whole this year.
Oh, geez.
8-seeded Villanova.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, to a degree. But hey, the FL East and the Big East, what's the difference when you think about it, right? So, yeah, the C's are really intriguing games because it's 1 versus 2 in the C1 between Lions and Geneseo.
That's where the action's at, and seed them
Yeah.
on Saturday. Those are going to be really good games and potential. Can you imagine Lions Honeoye in the play down game, probably
Rematch.
at FLCC on Wednesday?
Yeah. Yeah, it'd be a rematch of that regular season game, which was an instant classic. Kyle, we were there for that. Obviously, they have to get through Geneseo for Lions and York for Honeoye. And actually, Jim, that was something that I know the guys from Honeoye were pretty excited about, is the fact that they rematch a team that they beat at the start of the year in York. But
they're looking ahead.
Yeah, they were definitely looking for
York's
Wednesday.
good.
Yeah.
I wasn't super impressed with Honeoye. I mean, good win and everything against Notre Dame Batavia to get to, but they were talking about Lions already. So I don't know. I'd say they're Honeoye's favored.
Yeah, I agree with that fully.
-2.5.
Yeah.
That's my personal.
I can't remember what they beat York by. I felt like it was double digits. I could be wrong, but
I think it was just under double digits.
Okay.
Yeah, it was close though.
Well, I got -2.5, and I got Lions. 14. -14.
Yeah, the interesting part for Lions too here is the fact that you have a group that's bit of a blend of a couple of guys who have been to Blue Cross Arena before, but most of that team has never been there. They lost in the semifinals last year, and just not probably expecting that to be the case. And this year they find themselves back. And I know when we were talking with them too Monday night, that was one of the things they brought up, is the fact that there's really only a couple guys who have been to Blue Cross Arena for them. So for most of those guys, it's going to be
Lebrecht.
Yeah, Stephen Lebrecht, the other one. So it's going to be a different experience for most of this Lions team, Kyle, that especially in recent years we haven't said a lot about, like, in that sense.
The problem this year is this is by far the easiest path I can ever remember. Yes, Ganano is a good team. We kind of talked about it off air, but they're not even close to Lions level. And then before that, they played Bloomfield and Red Jacket, and they won the one game by 90.
Yeah.
So they've kind of had
Well, a
not
tough
much.
regular season.
Yeah,
I mean, East Rochester, who beat them, right?
yeah,
Well, and I was about to say before I'll jump in there too quickly. This ties into that Wayne Monroe game. They beat Monroe.
Yeah, Lions beat
Like,
Monroe.
Yeah. So.
and East Rochester lost to Monroe by 3 or 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, yeah, they did have some tough non-league games, and I like that they scheduled some of those games where a lot of other
Geneva,
teams won't.
1 point or 1 possession loss in Geneva.
Yep, after trailing by a lot throughout the whole game, and
One at York.
yep.
What was the score of that York game? Any idea?
Oh god, I feel
We're
like
just-
Lions won by I think 16 or 18 maybe if I'm remembering right.
Yeah,
I personally just think from watching this Lions team a little bit now, a few times, I think they've gotten a little better as the season's gone on. I think that Coach Young has them in a good frame of mind. I think they're playing pretty disciplined. They are a solid 7 deep, and they got matchup problems all over the court. And I think Contrell Parker, he'll be the difference at the Blue Cross if he plays the way he did against who do we call him?
Ganando.
Granada, yeah. Yeah, I think Contrell Parker's really come along nicely. And I just think he kind of runs the show. And Jameer Johnson, hopefully Coach Young can keep him fresh down the stretch. It's a big court at the Blue Cross, but I really like what I see with Lions this year.
Yeah.
I think they got a really good thing going.
Well, JJ does have one dunk at Blue Cross Arena if I remember right from a couple of years ago. So
they'll easily win
Yeah.
the title. They'll get past the playing game, and then I worry against a Section 6 school. And
Well, it's tough at that point, right?
Yep.
So
yeah,
I wouldn't give
Yeah,
him.
I
I
can't-
wouldn't
I can't
give
get
them
too
the win
far.
over Lions.
Yeah.
I would or over Honeywell if it happens, or York.
Mm.
But yeah, they'll be favored.
yeah, I can't get too far as much as maybe other people want. I can't go too far down the line just yet. I mean, Section 6 is still in the middle of a couple semifinal games.
Who are
and
they
stuff like
playing
that.
on Saturday? Geneseo.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. They'll be heavily favored, I think. But
Yeah, I saw a little bit of video from Geneseo semifinal game, and that is a team that, I am intrigued from this side of the matchup though, because I don't know if Lions has seen a team that passes the ball quite like Geneseo does. They whip the ball.
I saw Geneseo upset a Zach Young coach Lions team at Bloomfield in the semifinals back in, it must have been around the 2015, 16, 17 maybe. I can't remember what year it was, but Lions was supposed to
I
win.
might have been there for that.
Had a good team, and I can't remember the kid. Franklin, maybe he had a 3-pointer at the buzzer that came off the front of the rim, and Geneseo won. It was a big upset. The Lions was expected to cruise.
Well, we got a full slate of games ahead. Go quickly to the girls' side here. We mentioned Bloomfield a little bit. They got a C1 title game on the girls' side. They play. It's an interesting matchup. This is why I say seeds are sometimes a little bit deceiving when you come to this time of year. They're the 2 seed. They're playing the 4 seed Canasteo Greenwood, who is a very good team. A team that beat Canandaigua earlier this year, even. So, I do think though I do like Bloomfield's chances here. I really do. I've been very high on them all year. I keep saying that a ton, but it's an interesting matchup. It's one that I'm assuming they probably didn't maybe expect to be having necessarily, but you play who's in front of you. And Kyle, another potential three-peat on the horizon here.
yeah, they're trying to join Wayne as the 2 local programs to three-peat, which is incredibly tough to do. Waterloo did it, we mentioned earlier a few years ago. I think this will be a tough game for them because I didn't necessarily like the way they played against Lions. Lions definitely had their chance to beat them, and they just scraped it out at the end. Kayla McCombs, leading the charge again. I think it was 26-point night. She's really good. She's over 1,700 career points as a senior. But yeah, I'll go with you and say they'll three-peat.
There we go. Attaboy. And then we got Waterloo playing in the playdown game for B on Saturday against Leroy. Funnily enough, there.
Yeah, Leroy's
champions.
first girls title since 2017. I don't think that anything can be a gimme for Waterloo from what we've seen from them this year in the regular season, but they do seem to have kicked it to another gear, and um, I'd be a little worried if I was the Leroy Lady Oakton Knights, Oakton Knights.
Yeah. So I was there for the full game for B2 before Waterloo played last night in the B1 title game. Like I've been saying, there's nothing certain in sports, but
Waterloo minus 16.
I feel pretty confident in saying Waterloo wins that game. So that's where I kind of stand on that one.
Well, yeah, and if you see that when you watch these
Yeah.
girls team like that, and then you understand that Waterloo is going to come out and pressure the heck out of them, it just exasperates the inefficiencies that you saw.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, I mean, maybe minus 16 isn't enough, but but again, we saw Waterloo, lose some regular season games.
It's true.
So
Well, speed kills, as I say. That's why I think Waterloo really can step it up.
So FL1 coverage live tomorrow night, Blue Cross Arena. I'm going to be there probably by myself. I might grab a color guy if I can, but I'm going to start pregame about 4:45, 5 o'clock tip.
Mhm.
It'll be quiet in there. I'm sure it'll be quiet in there at 4:45. But we'll see how it fills out, and then Saturday 3 o'clock.
Yep.
Russo and Charmin.
Yes. So
Wayne against Monroe at 3 o'clock. That's a championship game. Then another championship game right after at 5.
Mhm.
Lions, Geneseo.
Mhm.
And then Honeoye against
York.
at 7 p.m. So you're going to be on the air from just before 3 o'clock until 9 o'clock.
Yep.
I'm going to be listening the whole time. I'm going to be listening the whole time.
It's two NFL games long, essentially.
Yeah.
Thanks for a reminder there.
And if they stop talking, nobody will know what's going on.
It's true.
You got
True.
to. So are you going to do?
Send your caffeine now for me, by
You
the way.
talk to Nate about which game he might do the play-by-play on?
I have not yet. I have not.
Because I don't think there's any way you could do the play-by-play for all three.
It'd be a daunting task.
I think Nate probably knows Wayne the best.
I would assume either that or well, no, because Kyle, you did the Lions games with me this year, so and Jim did the one.
Yeah, he's
so
probably Wayne more.
yeah. So
I tell you, I had trouble at first with Wayne, especially from my terrible vantage point,
mhm.
with the Miles brothers, and they're tough. There's nobody that's too tall or too short. They're all like kind of the same, some different hairstyles.
Yeah, well. I look. I can't talk. There's photographic proof of me where it was not a mullet that I had, but for baseball, there definitely was what would be called a mud flap coming out of the bottom of my helmet back in the day. Here nor there for hairstyles at that point. So
Yeah, I'm still rocking one.
yeah, I mean, you get better than me. That's why I got the hat on. So yeah, keep an eye out, fingerlakes1.com for the links. They'll be going out late this evening officially is when we'll be going live with the links for the broadcasts this weekend.
Free to listen.
Yes, we are free to listen to. We just ask that you support the people who support us along the way. So, all right. Let's transition over to the Buffalo Bills, Kyle. We have a trade that happened during lunchtime today. Trade with the Chicago Bears, DJ Moore heading to Buffalo. Also involved a pick swap of sorts, second-round pick going to Chicago. DJ Moore being saddled with a fifth-round pick as well for the deal.
Bill's going to win the Super Bowl now.
I did say to you, Kyle, I said it to another, funnily enough, it was actually Nate who I said this to. Billy Bean's not sleeping, or Brandon Bean's not sleeping.
Billy Bean.
And yeah, I know I just made
Ace.
him the ace GM there on my end, so shows where my brain's at right now. But yeah, Brandon Bean's not sleeping. Overall, I like the deal. I don't want to make it sound like I'm negative or anything like that about it, because I'm not. But in that initial feeling, I really do like this deal for Buffalo.
Yeah, and it seems like everyone's talking about him like he's older than what he really is. He's 28. Yeah, the money thing is kind of an issue, but I think they're kind of still trying to restructure some of the money, because of the cap hit and stuff. The Bills don't have a lot of space anyways. But when you look on paper, he definitely improves your roster or your wide receiver room. They didn't really have an outside threat, and he'll provide that. Josh Palmer was kind of that guy now because what's his name? Why am I blanking? The veteran that was there at the end of the year.
Shakir.
Cooks?
Cooks.
Oh, yeah.
Brandon Cooks. He's not under contract anymore. He's
Right.
a free agent. So essentially now,
I would like to see him retain Cooks.
yeah, I mean, I'm sure they're probably still going to bring him in training camp. But yeah, I mean, I like the deal. I don't think it's what everyone wanted as like the big splash. People are talking about like Justin Jefferson. I didn't ever really consider that because
Nah.
they're not going to give up enough to get him. AJ Brown,
I don't want A.J. Brown.
I didn't think they were ever going to get
I
him.
don't even want him.
So I mean, I guess they just had to kind of go to here, and they got their guy.
Mm.
He was never DJ Moore came into the league and was supposed to be like, that Hall of Fame caliber number one, franchise guy, and he never materialized. He showed moments, but he's never been in a system, I guess, either that's allowed him to do that.
Well,
So
about that though,
okay.
his two most productive years,
Yeah.
2020 and 2021. Who was his offensive coordinator? Survey says Joe Brady.
Oh, really?
Yes,
No
down in
wonder they brought him
Carolina.
in then.
I was trying to process that. Yeah, I saw that today on Twitter.
So I think they're banking a little bit on that. I don't know. I do like DJ Moore. My main issue with this trade, if there is one, comes from the fact that it makes me wonder a little bit about what is Khalil Shakir's future technically in Buffalo now.
Still the slot guy.
But that's the thing. That is kind of what DJ Moore is a little bit. So it does make me wonder.
I think he's definitely way more outside though than Shakir can play.
I agree with that. Yeah.
He makes the contested catches down the sideline at times. Shakir doesn't, but I don't think they use Shakir properly anyways, and I'm hoping that finally changes this year. Shakir is younger.
Coleman.
Yeah, I wish Coleman would go, but I think he's going to be back.
What do you mean?
Yeah, maybe he'll get better.
He might have a great camp again.
And Moore's had 8 1,000-yard seasons.
Yes.
He had a down year this year statistically because of the injury he had it. I forgot how many games he missed.
Yeah, but even then, it felt like this year they were using him way more in like the sweep coverage than anything else. It felt like when they used him, he was a lot more on the ground and not in the air.
I think that it wasn't, when we heard about it just an hour ago, I didn't get the feeling like, wow, that's just what they needed. But the more I think about it, it might be. I mean, remember when they got Diggs from Minnesota? That was like, yes.
Yes, I was just going to say that. That was the big feeling, like, let's go. And this one didn't really
Doesn't
do
feel that way.
Yeah.
But Diggs didn't necessarily work out.
Yep.
He did for a while, but
And Moore's going to be their best receiver since Diggs.
yeah. And Diggs is now off in New England.
Yeah.
And now he's not.
Well, let's
Wait,
not
what do you mean?
let's not get ideas over here.
He's going to get released when the new league year starts.
Yeah, he's
that's what
he's off of New
Yeah,
England.
yeah.
They're letting him go, so the Bills could bring him back.
No.
I think he's going to land in Washington.
Let's not. No. I still have PTSD on Albert Hainsworth. I'm good. I don't know. I said this to you, Jim, when we were talking about it earlier. Someone will pick him up, but I don't think
San
anybody.
Francisco.
No. Well.
But you guys are losing Debo. Washington is losing Debo.
Yeah.
So we'll add Diggs opposite McLaurin and with McCaffrey.
I think I'd rather have Keon Coleman than Diggs at this point.
Jeez. Yeah, I don't want Diggs.
I view things from a very different perspective being a Commanders fan.
I don't want any trouble making wide receivers.
That's what I'm getting at.
I just don't. I can't stand it.
By the way, not trouble making wide receivers. I just don't want any trouble making players.
Yeah, but they're usually wide receivers. The troublemakers. Prima donnas.
I feel like for me in my lifetime with Washington, it's been mostly defensive players. Hainsworth, the carcass of Deion Sanders. Who was the one guy? Archuleta?
Deion Sanders went to the Redskins for a year?
Yeah, it was. I think
year?
I'm pretty sure it was during the Spurrier year.
Because they had, so Deion played for a lot of teams.
I think Deion was there the same time that Bruce Smith was.
Falcons
In Washington.
first, right?
Yes.
And then Cowboys.
49ers, I think we're
Yep,
after.
49ers. And then I guess
When was the stop in Baltimore?
Yeah, that must have been brief. Could it have even been the same season that he was in Washington?
Yeesh.
Because I barely remember that.
Deion Sanders is my favorite Cincinnati Red of all time anyway, so.
He was a more fun baseball. Well, he was obviously great at both sports.
Yeah.
Fun to watch.
Yeah.
We went down about his coaching.
We went down a very different hole there just anyway.
But bottom line, Bills are probably going to win the Super Bowl now because they got DJ Moore.
A lot more work to do, especially on the defensive side.
Pretty good transition over there too, Cal, because you mentioned it with Buffalo. Stick with the Sabres. Trade deadline quickly approaching, and by quickly I mean sprint speed, if you will.
Now we're talking about a real team.
They tried to trade for a defenseman and Colton Parayko, and he waived his did not waive his no trade clause. So what is the Sabres' move now at this point here? Obviously, I'm assuming they're still going to try and attack and get a defenseman, but I don't know who's now the next guy in line, I guess.
Yeah, that's the tough part because I thought this was the best option. I thought it was almost a done deal. I think a lot of people thought
seemed
that.
like it.
And he rejects it. It sucks because it feels like this was the year that finally guys wouldn't reject coming to Buffalo. You could see in the years past why they would, but they got to figure out what they're going to do instead. I think it might be a good thing too because now they'll go and make even a bigger splash because they're mad that they couldn't land him. I just hope it's not Rasmus Ristolainen. That's not a bigger splash. That's actually kind of like going backwards.
I was about to say there's a sad bit of irony if that happens.
So I hope it's like a forward that no one's really talking about.
Okay.
From I don't know, there's some teams that are so I look at the Nashville Predators. I'm not saying I want Steven Stamkos, but see a guy like that, it's just that'd be kind of a splash. Mm-hmm. Vancouver has some guys I think they're selling. Toronto's even selling, which is shocking.
They're saying Brock Besser might actually be on the move this time.
Yep. So I don't really know. I think no matter what, they will get a defenseman, but my fear is that's it because of the asking price.
Yeah.
But either way, it's good to know that this new GM seems to be going all in, and they're the sixth best team in the NHL right now.
It's crazy.
Could not be happier if you're a Sabres fan.
Yeah, I know. Reading a little bit last night when I got home. They did have a deal lined up. Was it possibly for Thomas from St. Louis or?
Yeah, they were.
But either way, it was probably have involved Josh Norris, and it seemed like they weren't keen on having that portion be in.
And originally we heard Owen Power's name, which I think I'm not an Owen Power fan at all. But I would. Josh Norris is injury prone, but I would not want to get rid of him because he's healthy again.
Yeah, when he's on,
he's good when he's on. So I don't think that's going to go through. And I'm not sure he gets traded at all. I mean, the asking price is steep. He's under control for 5 more years. Yeah. He's only, I think, 26 or 27. So yeah, it's going to be a lot. But there's going to be a lot of deals. I still think. Usually they happen on the actual deadline day, but it's not NBA-like and MLB-like, so people shouldn't expect that.
No.
NBA's nuts, what they do at the deadline.
Well, to be fair, the past couple for the NHL have been that way just because it's funny because I'll get to this question for you, though, Kyle, here in a second after I say it, because the Panthers really stepped up the past couple of years in their title runs, too. Be buyers at the deadline. Do you actually buy, though, that they are true sellers of this deadline? Because I don't think for what that team should be going forward next year when they're healthy, I don't buy that they're actually sellers right now.
Yeah, health is what really, put them down in the standings early on, and then they've tried to claw their way back and just haven't been able to. I agree. I think it would be weird. I don't think Bobrovsky, their goalie, is going to be traded. He has a 16-team no-trade clause, but they say he might be available. I think Vegas, if he was available, would be a team that he could go to. But other than that, I don't really know what else you're going to sell.
Right.
It wouldn't make a lot of sense.
Right.
Just regroup next year.
Yeah. Yeah, I view it from an angle of, I'm sure they're saying it in the sense of everybody has a price, but I don't know. It pains me because I hate the Panthers, but you mean to tell me if that team's not 100% healthy that they're not probably at the top of the table in the East? We're probably all kidding ourselves. So
except for the Lightning.
You're right there, baby.
They're so annoying.
Yeah, I'm intrigued. I've seen for them I've seen Stamkos' name pop up, which I wouldn't hate the reunion, but it's weird how I probably feel as a Lightning fan that I don't know if I want it to happen in the sense of I don't know. We'll see. But I know they're looking at, I think, Linus Carlson being on one of their top targets, and we'll see. See how it all plays out. Yeah, that's all I really got for the major stuff. I don't know anything else you guys really want to fully touch on.
John
here.
Daly's son played in the Puerto Rico Open, which is
Yeah.
the secondary PGA Tour event going on this week opposite the Bay Hill, and he shot 2 under, and he's tied for 15th in the first round.
Hey.
John Daly Jr.
Well, I've seen him on a couple, to show the generation stuff here. I've seen him on a couple of YouTube golf videos, and
Yeah, well, this is a real PGA.
no, I know,
tournament,
I
yeah.
know, but it's one of those things where it's like he is John Daly's son, that's for sure. But this can't be his first pro event, right? Or maybe it is. I don't know.
I think it might be. I didn't even know he's playing in
It's
the
crazy.
Puerto Rico Open, but yeah, tied for 15th.
Yeah.
I think they're still on the course though, so he might not end the round being tied for 15th. But
Better than me, that's for sure. All right, NASCAR moment here. Tyler Reddick made history, three-peat to start the year, winning. Michael Jordan been interviewed more time by Fox NASCAR than NBC for the NBA this year. It's great. Yeah, it's tremendous there. World Baseball Classic started overnight last night.
Well, I watched the 10 p.m. game. Australia.
I did too.
Chinese,
Yeah.
Whatever. Not fun because there's like no MLB guys, former
The
MLB guys.
disrespect to Travis Bazzana.
The real stuff starts tomorrow.
Yes.
USA.
Yeah.
8 o'clock.
night game, right?
Yep.
Yep.
Saturday night too. 8
You
o'clock.
can listen to the Minders final at 5, and then watch the U.S. baseball team at 8.
Yep. Yeah. Well, my brain for whatever reason just defaulted. I'm like 8. I'm like, oh yeah, they're in Houston. Like,
Don't forget it's on Fox
Yeah.
too. It'll be easy
we're
to
on
find.
Big Fox. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I wish my same issue I have with the U.S. team every year pops up with this every time. Just don't know if I can buy the pitching being good throughout.
Yeah, and then
You know.
I was reading last night the pitch limits.
Yeah.
I don't have the exact numbers, but there's like specific pitch limits. It reminds me of high school all over again.
Yeah.
And then teams don't want their top guys throwing too many pitches. So it's like,
No, they were getting paid millions and millions of dollars, and they're about to play a 162-game season.
yeah. But like Paul Skeens in Pittsburgh,
Yeah.
like they're really worried about if he throws too many pitches. Like, come on, you guys aren't making the playoffs.
Ooh.
That's probably
Pirates
true.
are one of my dark horse teams this year, I think.
That's pretty dark.
Tarek Skubal with Detroit.
Well, that's the one I have the
That's
problem
one
with.
of the best
Yeah.
pitchers in the game, and now he might only throw 40 pitches in one game and then
Yeah,
be
that's-
done with the World Baseball
That's the
Classic.
problem that I have with
like a bullpen.
Is that, yeah.
It happens when the big money gets into the sports.
Yeah.
It's not, like, it's too bad, but it's kind of how it is. And that's
Yeah.
the world we're living in. Also, breaking news: Kristi Noem was relieved of her duties as Homeland Security.
Wait, what?
Yeah, nothing
Oh.
to do with sports. Although,
Well,
if you like consider dog shooting a sport.
well, I think it does have to do with sports to a degree here, because we have the World Cup coming up.
Yeah,
And I know this for a fact. Should they advance to this the out of pool play, I know that there were members of Cuba's coaching staff for the World Baseball Classic that had their visas denied already.
yeah. Marco
So-
Rubio does not like Cuba.
Yeah, which
Newsflash.
kind of funny.
Well, anyways, she was replaced by Mark Wayne Mullen, one of the
Oh boy.
biggest idiots in the world.
Yeah.
Mark Wayne.
Yeah. Great. Grand. I hate this timeline anyway. That's all I got. I think we could probably get out of here really on that note, I suppose.
What about Syracuse basketball?
Do we have
Can
to?
they turn their season around? They have Pitt Saturday.
Well, they beat him the first time, so they'll lose this time.
Yeah, definitely.
No,
I think they might get the win against Pitt, but
Wait, and then they would finish under 500. I don't know a lot about Syracuse, so when's the last time they finished under 500? Do you have any idea?
71.
3 years. No, didn't they?
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
I think if they beat Pitt and then lose in their first game in the ACC tournament, they'll be at 500. I think, right?
I'm working on it. It'd be the fourth time in the 57 years that they will finish below 500.
Only the second time since Boeheim took over.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to get
That's
to here.
unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But-
Well, that's what when you lose to Boston College and Wake Forest.
Yeah, courtesy. Oh no, where'd it go?
Extra.
Where'd it go? I thought I had it. I didn't.
OrangeHoops.net has all the.
I was about to say I'm actually on the Daily Orange. Shout out to the Daily Orange, but
Oh, I love the Daily
yeah,
Orange.
I had it and I lost it, so that's on me.
But regardless, if you can't lose to Pitt. If you do, I still hold out. Like I can see them getting to the semis of the ACC tournament, but I can't see them winning it. I mean, it's sad. It's a really sad day. I like Adrian Autry. He's an Orange legend, and he's going out it's just a bad way to go out.
Yeah.
But I also don't want to see him come back next year myself, personally. So
Yeah,
I
please,
just feel bad all around.
please, just let us die.
Orange lacrosse suffered a loss.
Yeah. Then it doesn't get any easier. They got Hopkins on Saturday, which look, I'm all for getting these playing some headlining games, but damn, like
Yeah, well, it's going to have a tough schedule in lacrosse because there's not that many schools that
Yeah.
play it.
yeah. And then I think it's weird too. Like they do like a mini, not like West Coast swing, but like they play like Air Force in Denver.
Yeah, there's a
On the
little
heel of that. It's kinda
hotbed
weird.
of lacrosse in in Colorado
Yeah.
recently. So
All right. I do have the table up here for Syracuse under 500. Let's see.
1958, 59.
Where'd it go?
I'm gonna guess the loser.
No, 58, 59 was not.
They
Well,
won't.
if we go by the past 57-year mark or whatever it is.
What was Dave Bing's freshman year?
Oh, wow. I would have to pull up another.
I believe that's
Another
the
figure
last
for that.
time that he didn't play on the team as a freshman. He played on the freshman team.
Right.
But I believe that's the last time they had a losing record until, I don't know, what was it, 2 or 3 years ago?
Let's see. Bing was 63.
Oh, okay.
So that was an under 500 year, 8-13, but they did have another one in 69. They went 9-16,
Okay.
and then they were at 570, and then above 500 from
The Final
70.
Four under Roy Danforth,
Yep.
and then Boeheim took over, and
And they
the
were
rest is history.
they were above 500 until where do we go?
I'd be looking
21-22
Yep.
at 16 and 17. So.
Yep. And we got.
Actually, they were under 500 last year. We blocked that out from our memories, apparently.
It's all just one big blur of
Yeah.
terrible,
Yeah.
embarrassing basketball
So
from the once pride of upstate New York.
now can't even beat Colgate.
I find it before we go, we got time. Miami, Ohio is undefeated at 32-0, and there's people saying if they lose a game in the conference tournament, they shouldn't get an at-large bid.
Well,
I disagree.
yeah. Let me be the voice of reason here, because me and you did talk about this too Monday, Jim. If the voice behind this is Bruce Pearl, that opinion can probably be burned in a dumpster.
Yeah, but I've heard other
So-
people talking about it since he brought it up.
That's fine and well, but they probably also deserve to have their opinions burned.
But
in
of
the
course
dumpster.
they should make it.
Yeah. I don't. The funny part to me is I was like, well, they've only beat teams in quad 2 and 3. I'm like, yeah, the same teams that Michigan lost to and Illinois have lost to, and then blah blah blah.
Look,
Look,
I
it's
agree.
not-
If they had
you
3
know.
losses, if
Yeah.
they were like 29-3, yeah, probably win a week MAC with no marquee quad 1 wins. But they haven't lost.
Yeah.
So I don't know what you got to do if you're a member of the NCAA Division 1, like everybody, and you go undefeated, and you're not going to get into the 68 team.
Yeah.
I mean, what will probably happen is they would get thrown into the first 4 in Dayton. But it's also a sad state of affairs because if you go back just 4 or 5 years ago, the MAC was kind of good, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's having. I think.
And
well,
the mid majors are no more in college basketball
right,
because of
but
NIL.
I personally think this year a lot of talk has been, and justifiably so, to Miami, but Akron and Kent have both had pretty decent years as well, to the point that for a while, whether people want to actually admit it or not, we were kicking the tires on a multi-bid MAC. possibly.
Yeah, but those days are over now
For the most part,
because
yeah.
of NIL.
Yeah.
The days of the mid-major. I used to, for several years since the gambling was legalized, I would bet every single underdog in the NCAA tournament. So that's 32 games in the first round. In the first round, I'd bet every single underdog outside of the 16 seed. And I printed money every year. And then last year, for the first time, I lost money. And I'm not going to do it this year because that era is over. Now the best teams have the best players, and the gap is wide because it's an NIL deal. And with the transfer portal, all these guys that were good at a mid-major jump to a major.
Major?
Yeah, a top
That's a-
major.
No,
High
I
major.
I did a very niche mash joke just now. So apologies. Kyle, do you know what MASH is/was? No? Okay, fair enough. Best TV show ever created.
I'm not my personal opinion, but it is definitely
Yeah.
would be in contention if you want to have that conversation for sitcoms,
Yes. Yeah.
long running.
Shout out Alan Alda, one-time Seneca Falls visitor,
Yep.
speaker,
Yeah.
even. So,
Downtown Seneca Falls.
yeah.
He was there.
Yep.
Jamie Farr.
Yeah. Shout out Toledo.
No.
Toledo, the gateway to Zanesville. Anyway. Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. I still think there are spots for mid-majors and stuff like that. I don't know.
No, they
It's always
deserve
tough.
to be in, but they're not.
No, I know.
They're not going to do what George Washington did. How many years ago was that?
George Mason, you mean?
George Mason, yeah.
So both proud of the A10.
How many years ago was that?
2006, 20 years.
Oh, jeez. The kids I interviewed at the wing game weren't even alive.
No.
All right, I think we should end the show on that.
Yeah. I sorry. Kyle's just like, oh boy. Yeah, welcome to our world, Kyle, to a degree. Yeah, we'll get out of here. So appreciate you guys. Jim, have fun tomorrow night. I know we'll have some fun on Saturday.
Yep.
Kyle, have fun on Saturday for you, man. You're jam-packed from 9 a.m. until probably about, 9 p.m.?
Yeah, because we have Syracuse at 5:45. We have the Sabres at 5.
Yeah.
Everything
No
going.
rush on the Syracuse story. Nobody cares anymore.
Yeah, in fact, you could bury it just like the team.
We can start treating them like our Cornell women's team coverage.
Anyway, appreciate everybody for listening and tuning in. As always, we'll be back again next Thursday. You can find the FL1 Sports Podcast here on FingerLakes1.com, the FL1 YouTube channel, and all major podcasting platforms. Good luck to the teams chasing sectional titles this weekend, and we will talk again next week. Have a great weekend, everybody.